Hey ya, out there. Good to be coming through to you. Sending my love and my inspiration. Singing a song while we go live on 3 stations. Now I'm live on the YouTube, Instagram, and my Facebook channels. Excited to bring you the news of a free offering from me to 5 people who are committed to transforming their relationships, to friends, to family, to institutions and their representatives. People are living in a state, I have on my sweatshirt, the state of flux. And I don't know why it's X, but flux is like the flux capacitor, which makes time travel possible. Now, this course isn't about time travel, but it's gonna help us realize future versions of ourselves, more evolved version of ourselves sooner. It's an acceleration, it's an activation, and yeah, the point is to get clarity on our identity, to give us that unshakable conviction, although we're not convicts. And that's also important for us to realize. This is some key revelations, some insights that I've conglomerated, that I've accumulated, that I've rolled up and put into my bag during the last several years. And it's all about seeking freedom, that we're moving into greater freedom each day rather than less freedom, as seems to be the trend, and people becoming so attached to their boxes, their psychological boxes that are fit to us, or maybe they're a bit too small. For me, they've always been too small. I've rejected this boxed existence, since I was young. In high school, I started calling myself a social dissident because it's dissonance that I'm experiencing all around me in the communities that are designed for cars, rather than for people walking, and with no care for the animals. And they have a right to roam. And I don't mean Rome as in the Roman Empire, because that is the problem, friends. And the problem that comes from that problem is the identity that we choose to accept and agree with. Um, the system of empire, going back to Rome and before, is handing us an identity that is removed from our authentic identity. And so the invitation in this free course and this free offering for 5 people who connect with me during the course of this week, because we're starting on Sunday, and it's going to be 3 weeks, and it's going to be 3 Sundays, and it's totally free, but it requires your presence, your commitment to make a change towards freedom, to start to embody your spiritual identity, your true self. And I mean, obviously we are embodying that already to various degrees, but the problem is we get trapped in the matrix, the Maya, the illusion. And there's all these offers for us to accept a role in a play on the world stage. You can be an employee and do a job. you can be an employer and give people jobs, but or you can be self-employed, which is a contradiction. Because an employee is employed. If you are self-employed, well, you're just an owner. And we are owners of ourselves unless we give that right away. And that's what we're tricked into doing. People are giving away their right to their ownership over themselves. It's the matrix mental slavery system, the mystery Babylon. And it's pervasive and it's very convincing to a lot of people. And it's coercive, and we're dealing with it every day from birth until death. And we always have an opportunity to step into our authentic identity, our spiritual selves who are in this world but not of it, and who can, discern truth from fiction and operate with vigilance to be able to discern again and again what's coming to us from truth, from within, as we are creating and dreaming our world into being moment to moment. We are consciousness and we are souls inhabiting the body. And our physical bodies are ours. They are our earthly estate. They are property. They are technology, biological technology, which is the divine inheritance of the soul. And this is the realization that, is too often forgotten about. People are identified with the stuff. The materialistic scientific paradigm is saying you are your body, and consciousness is produced in the brain. And these are tricks that are sent to us, messaging every day to deceive the soul into a box, into the mental slavery system. Now, the idea with this sharing is not for me to just say I have all the answers and say, oh, follow me, we're going to liberate our minds from mental slavery. But it's to facilitate in a small group a transformational inner contemplation and a visual. I'll guide a visual contemplation, a visual experience to reconnect with our origins, of the moment of arrival of the soul into its earthly estate, its body, the physical body, given by the woman to the unique new genetic composition, Terra Nova, the combination of the man's genetic code in the sperm and the woman's genetic code in the egg, and their lineages going back through time. And it was recently pointed out to me how this is an interpretation of divine, meaning our lineage, twofold, dad's lineage and mom's lineage, die meaning two in Latin, right? D-I, die, vine. Two vines, mom and dad's lineage, going backwards on the biological evolution, the string, the vine, the tree of life that we are part of, and that we are actually a fractal embodiment of all life. And our DNA is the life-giving principle, which is operating in the same way in every life form, right? In all the biological life forms that we know. And in the mystic circles, people understand that all creation is alive. All the material universe is containing consciousness. Consciousness is throughout creation, right? Every rock, every breath of wind. It's windy here. I'm in south of Montenegro, and today it's like spring was like springing on Sunday. This last Sunday, I went on an amazing bicycle ride down the coast, and then left my bike in one town and took the bus to the next town and went on this beautiful trail. And it was such a great journey, and it was beautiful, warm weather. And then today it's become, and yesterday also was windy. Monday and Tuesday this week, windy because it's the winds of change. And in my wonderful, blessed life that I've been so grateful to partake of, my almost 33 years now, I've been in concert and communion with the wind energy, with the elemental, and having conversations and songs and alignment with the wind, and traveling far and wide as the wind does, and integrating diverse perspectives, delving the depths of my own inner world. And I had a friend on Maui who calls it, because he's a permaculture friend who's into gardening, and he calls it gardening, when you are cultivating your awareness within your own psyche. And like I said, the body is technology, and the like a computer with software, we have our operating systems, and they are determined by various influences, some of them being the authentic source code of the life principle that's coming through us from the source, coming out from us, emanating from the center of the universe, which is everywhere, because we live in a holographic fractal universe, and every part contains the whole. But there's also the sources, which are giving us programs of delusion, of confusion, of distraction, of diminishment, and subjugating nature, right? The patriarchal control paradigm of parasitizing the land, including the land, which is our physical bodies. And the matrix it's not actually real, except in our minds. And the universe is mental, right? We are thinking thought forms, taking life energy and broadcasting. And when more than one person is broadcasting the similar thought form, there becomes resonance and increases in power. And if you get more and more people bringing their thoughts together towards a certain manifestation that grows in strength, and it becomes reality, as we term it. Now, we have the power to correct the misgivings, the mistakes, and the misaligned creations of our reality away from this paradigm of control, extract, dog eat dog, and chop down the forest for McDonald's. But it's going to take us coming together and replacing the faulty, dysfunctional operating system, the software that we're using in our psyches, that's taking us in loops and loops and loops on the rat race, on the hamster wheel. We have the power, with some facilitation, with some conscious intention, with some time and space, and some key ideas and key information, to transcend that rat race, to transcend that hamster wheel that's spinning inside the mind, and to move forward into connection with our earthly estates as the owners, as the divine heirs to the kingdoms within, right? It's said in the scriptures that the kingdom of heaven is within. And that's absolutely correct. It is within us that we are the sovereign lords over our own selves. We are the kings and queens of our earthly estates, unless we forget. So this is an opportunity for us to not forget. This is an opportunity for us to stand in remembrance, reconnecting and calling back to ourselves scattered life force energy that's being systematically siphoned away from us, and bring it into cohesion, into crystal clarity, into divine alignment, and honoring those divines, the divine of our ancestry. And it moves forward in time. We are connected through all time, space, and dimension as multidimensional beings. So this is a wonderful 3 weeks together that I'm offering to the first 5 aligned people who can commit to sharing space. We'll use a Zoom call, and you'll get the recording, and I'll set up a Telegram group for our small container, 6 people, 5 and myself, who are going to navigate a transformation. And the outcome, the destination, the goal we're going towards, it is wholeness. So it's a wholeness activation, and that's what I'm calling it. The whole name is a wholeness activation emergence, because we are emerging from the delusions. We are emerging from the amnesia. We are emerging into a new world of infinite possibility, of dreaming together from the authentic creator capacity, from our illuminated minds, of realizing, yes, I am a soul that occupies a physical body, and I have dominion over that body and all of its products, all of its output, the labor, the ideas, although that's an interesting topic because, you know, consciousness being everywhere, uh, ideas and intellectual property. Uh, for me, it's kind of a gray area, right? Understanding, you know, like if this idea comes to me and I just claim it and say, well, this is my idea. But I don't know, it's just kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of egotistical. I'd be curious to see how other people feel about that. Like I said, this is not me just saying I'm gonna illuminate you and I'll be your guru. This is me, um, you know, seeing the need for clarity in individual consciousness that each of us is, and taking the opportunity to express that and to establish ourselves within a field of clarity, and to go through some exercises together towards increasing our ability to express that, and also, examining the facets and the minutia of the dysfunctional programming, the confused identity that is so common. And we're going to talk about the commons. There's a saying in the permaculture circles, that I'm involved with, people who are interested in environmental regeneration, that is, the tragedy of the commons. Well, interesting, point that was recently brought to my attention, and I'm going to go into like the heart and the center of this activation, this 3-week course. We're going to revisit, like I said, we're going to revisit the moment of our incarnation, and that is prior to our birth, when our soul actually comes into the developing embryo. And as I said, this unique earth material, biological material, that is growing from a combination of two lineages. But after that, we go through birth, and we are born, and the afterbirth is cut off right away in the standard hospital procedures, and basically it's stolen from us because it's part of our bodies and we need it for health at that early stage. We have, they say, a third of the baby's blood is still in that placenta when hospitals are cutting it, clamping it, and cutting off at the umbilical cord. And this is a trespass on our rights. And just because it's practiced habitually doesn't make it just. And what happens, coming back to the tragedy of the commons, is that placenta is effectively claimed as abandoned by biological property. And in the legal system, it's considered a vessel that's been abandoned. And so it is claimed, salvage and claim of that property. And it's my belief that the birth certificate actually is indicating that part of us, that physical property that was one and the same with the newborn, and it still is one and the same genetic material that, interestingly, is also property of the mother, right? Uh, but it was bequeathed by the mother to the newborn, to the incoming soul. It was given as earthly estate, as I said, as a land, for a place for the soul to land and to live inside this biological technology of the developing physical human body. And just because that part of us, that part of our property, was maimed at the first moments of life and cut off from us and taken, uh, it doesn't mean that it doesn't still belong to us outright. It is part of our rightful inheritance. So this is an interesting, it's an interesting rabbit hole as far as how the civil system that works, that I mentioned, the Roman Empire, and how they systematically, invaded the lands, removed the connection of the indigenous inhabitants of the land so that they became dependent, right, on Rome. This is the system of empire, to invade, to trespass on the freedom of people of the land, and to bring them, to place them in a container that's called the civitas, right? And they become citizens, but only in the mind, right? This is mental slavery. This is in training through media propaganda that we see, every morning, every evening, brainwashing us to think, that we are a citizen, that, there's a doctrine like in the United States called parens patria. Actually, I'm not sure how far that goes back, but parens patria is the concept and the practice of the state being the official parents of an infant, and, mother and father are legal guardians, but, in the system that we have, that they are basically giving up their claim to their newborn. So interesting, convoluted world we live in, topsy-turvy, full of tricks and injustice. And it's our opportunity to integrate this experience, to dive into the lessons that it offers, on the fear, the suffering, the violence, the parasitism that is our modern world. And going back and back, even to ancient times, this system of empire, it provides for us a challenge to overcome, a lesson to grow through. And yeah, we're diving deep here into the meaning of life. And the point is that we don't have to be subject to, just because it's a trend, just because the crowd is all jumping off a bridge. And my parents used to always say that to me. If your friends, probably yours did too, if your friends all jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? That's kind of what's happening, you know. Uh, People are their consciousness is suppressed, and their creative power is redirected towards the end goal of prison society. You know, that's the end goal of these alternative operating systems. And they say that we are the alternatives, right? uh-uh. Maybe people are familiar with Ron Finley. I'm not sure if anybody is, but Ron Finley is known as the gangster gardener, and he was growing food in just public spaces in LA. And I saw an interview with him. Uh, afterwards, he led a march up to the nation's capital in Washington D.C. And he had these like Ron Finley dollars that had seeds in them, so you could plant the paper dollar, and then the seeds would sprout, and it would be growing nature abundance, pushing through the pavement, here, there, and everywhere. Life finds a way, as they say in Jurassic Park. um, But what he was saying in the interview is that the lady asked him, "Are the interviewer asked him, do you feel like an underdog?" You know, because he was receiving pushback, saying, "Oh, it's illegal. You can't garden in this public space in the inner city. You can't be growing food here. You know, this is." And and he's like, "No, I'm not an underdog. I'm a super dog." And that's so profoundly true. Uh, we we are kind of like, a lot of us, in this state of snotty, fearful tears, to quote another movie. Uh, I won't go into what that's a quote from, but it's true. People are fearful, and there's actually no true logic and true reason behind that fear. It's simply confusion and delusion, distraction, miss self identification, like thinking that we are just a body, just a nobody, right? Well, we're all super dogs like Ron Finley. We're in a super soul soup. We are universally connected. We are one with the consciousness of all life, of all creation, which is coming through us in a beautiful, dynamic, co-creative journey of just exploring to see what we can create. And we can course correct and stop creating nightmarish circumstances, in an easier process than we might imagine, right? we can we can stop ourselves right here and now, and start going in a brighter way. So this is the reason I'm so excited to be offering this, to call us back into alignment with our nature, with our divinity, with our oneness, and with our unique expressions, empowering our voices. I'll be a co-creative setting. So once again, I'll just share it. It's going to be 3 Sundays, 90 minutes. And before we'll schedule together, it'll be a small group, five people, the exact time that works for everyone. We'll come to a consensus on starting this Sunday. So send me a message, write a comment if you're interested, if you want to know more. The Aquarian Renaissance Roundtable is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central European Time, which is 2 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. And last week was really great. We had this wonderful woman, Camille, join, and another wonderful woman, Leslie, and they were gracious enough to go live with me on YouTube, as I've done every week except for one, since I started doing the Aquarian Renaissance Roundtables 7 weeks ago. This will be the 8th one, and it's almost spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's time for us. We're about to come into the Aries season, which is the first sign of the zodiac, ready to sprout. It's like a little sprout, the symbol for Aries, and ready for, also is horns. And on this bike trip that I took on Sunday, I saw these animals with big curly horns. I'm not sure what they're called actually, but they're beautiful. And the Aries is the ram, right, in the zodiac, and we're coming into that season. Aries is my sun sign, and my moon and ascendant are both Libra. And if that means something to you, uh, you know, it's Libra is about balance and wanting to create better relationships. Like I said, that is the outcome. The intended outcome is that we move into a space of maturity, spiritual connection, so that we can live our lives and cultivate functional, fulfilling, delightful relationships, with our friends and family, coworkers, strangers we meet, with the institutions that have demands. We'll come out of this course experience together with a much greater ability to actually meet the demands that are coming to us from other people, and meet them without panic, without intimidation, meet them with presence and a strong foundation of who we are. And we'll practice how we communicate with as time allows. This is just the first offering, so that's why it's free. I'm just looking to get some feedback to grow and develop. I'm excited to bring Aquarian Renaissance, revolution in consciousness, bringing peace and plenty and beauty and understanding to us all going forward in the biggest way that I possibly can, and welcoming you to be a part of the beginning of that, and to integrate and elevate our fullness. So this is my message for today. Write to me, leave a comment, write a message. I have the newsletter posted on the Law of the Earth Telegram channel, Facebook, here Law of the Earth on YouTube. I'll just check on YouTube actually quickly to see if anybody wrote something. It's fun to live stream. I am enjoying it. No, nobody said anything. I don't know if I'm not even sure if I'm even live. Let's see, on YouTube. I must be. Yeah. Anyway, here at the end, saying to you all blessings, and welcoming you all to a free course, to a free activation, and see you soon. Much love.